everybody, my name is Hannah and my channel is Fleursdemontagne Jewelry. I am so glad that you're here. I have some really exciting glass to show you, and although I'm more interested in antique and vintage glass jewelry, this is more contemporary, but it's still super exciting, and there's a lot of information I have for you about this glass. It's really fascinating, it is really beautiful, and yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. I'm gonna first talk about just a little bit of background and history. That's like how I like to start out these videos. I like to give you sort of a history lesson. I don't go super in depth, so I will link a couple of articles and websites that I highly suggest you look at if you want more in-depth knowledge. It would be impossible for me to kind of absorb all this information and know it. So I focus on more about identification and the visual aspects of things, more so than the history. I'm not really a history teacher, so I suggest you can check out those links. I'm going to focus on dichroic glass, and it is a more contemporary glass, at least in popularity in the art world, the creative world. It actually was first developed in the late 1800s. Again, that's in the article I'm going to link. It has more info on that. And it had more of an industrial use. So other people started to play with it and see what they could do with it. So in about the 50s and 60s, NASA found this technique of glass, and they had an engineer that worked for them named Murray Schwartz, who was really interested in it. He was also an artist, so he would actually dig around in the scraps that were left over, and he would take these glass pieces and make sculptures with them, sun catchers with them. It's really fascinating. And then he met another guy named Jerry Sandberg, and together they created the first dichroic sort of color types for this glass, and they really honed in on the artistic aspect of using dichroic glass. It was used in industrial things like mirrors and eyeglasses, lasers, optical mirrors. It was even used for like the glass shields over the astronauts. It helped, combat radiation. So dichroic is not necessarily glass. It is a coating process. It's done in a vacuum deposition chamber by vaporizing quartz crystal and metal oxides. They use an electron beam gun, so that means this is being done on like a molecular level. It's not just being painted over, it's not being enameled and then fired in a kiln at high temperature. Like, this is done on an extremely microscopic level. It needs to be on a stable surface such as glass, because it is such a thin, it's like microscopic thin layer of these metal oxides and quartz crystals. So technically it could be coated on any kind of surface. I'll link Jerry Sandberg's website. He still has his business going. I believe he passed away, but he's been supplying the dichroic glass to the artistic community for years, and since the 90s. So there was like this picture, maybe I'll pop it up, a picture of like different ceramic things and just little decor items with a dichroic coating on it. So what's really interesting about this is that it is permanent. It said that no acids can destroy this, like it can't be washed off, you know, not with water or soap or anything like that. Like, it is permanent. So that's the process of how it is made, and it's really technical. You know, you need a lot of expensive equipment to actually, you know, make the dichroic coating on glass. And also too, when you buy chunks of glass, like say you want to fuse dichroic glass, that's a pretty popular glass craft. People buy big slabs of it, cut it up, and then they fuse it, and it kind of rounds out the corners. People make pendants, different jewelry with them. Let's go ahead and look at some examples. These have been lampworked, which means that someone used a bead mandrel, so a long rod, canes of glass, or, you know, long pieces of glass, and used a torch to melt the glass and wrap it around the bead mandrel. The coating that this creates is also called an interference filter. Now we're going to talk a little bit of science right now, so bear with me. I hope to say this correctly, but when you look at a normal color, let's say something red, this red bead. So color is light, and whatever ray of light from the color spectrum that's being reflected back to you, that's what color it is. So this is red, so red is being reflected back, because you know, white is the presence of all colors in the spectrum, and black is all the colors being absorbed, not being reflected back to you, so it's black. So what is interesting with this is this dichroic coating is actually reflecting different colors, but also transmitting them. So no color is being absorbed. So that means you see more than one color according to the angle that you look at the dichroic glass. That is just blowing my mind. Like, I didn't even know that that was possible, but it makes sense because you see just a rainbow of color whenever you look at dichroic glass. Something that's really confusing, at least with beads, is that I've talked about foil glass beads, and when you look at these, it does look like foil, like it's crinkled up, like there's some type of foil in there. But like I mentioned before, the huge difference is foil. Think about, like, you know how people coat like desserts with 24 karat leaf gold, or they coat I don't know, people use it in polymer clay, all kind of crafts. It's a very, very thin foil, a thin film that you can use. You can use it in glass. It's going to chip off, it's going to come off. So here's a couple of examples of beads that have foil. See if we can get in there and see. So as you can see here, we have a very shiny metallic center in there, and it is silver foil. Another way you could tell is when it's being made, lamp worked, the foil burns. So you see here where it's burned. This, the way dichroic, the coating is made, it doesn't burn. It's made up of crystal and metal. So here's another, this is check glass. You can see there they wrapped this in silver foil. So, and they used silver and gold foil. I don't believe I've seen any other colored foils. I'm not sure if it's possible. So there, I just think of like a crinkled up aluminum foil. That's the look of it. And also you are not going to see different colors reflected back. So, you know, here there's no colors. And this has a yellow glass over it, and they also, there's little tiny pieces of different colors, but no reflection of different colors in there. So that is the big difference, is the color, and also that it is the coating process. So here are, I recently got these, I won an auction and I saw these in the picture and I was super excited because I've really been on the hunt for some dichroic glass beads. I really wanted to study them and look at them, and they are just amazing. Look at these here. You can see where the dichroic glass was cut, and then when they lamp worked this, that's where the ends of the glass were. And so when you look at it this way, you can kind of see the swirl of color of that dichroic coating. And you see just about every color reflected. I see red, purple, blue, then we see like green, gradually get down there and kind of an orange color. Isn't that fascinating? And depending on the angle, see, now we just see mostly green and yellow. Wow, that's just, it amazes me. This is really interesting. It has this hint of indigo. Very, very unusual. Now these are interesting. I love this shape, and they put this dichroic glass on the outside, so we get this bluish, pink, purple. They almost look like mushrooms. Really, really interesting. And then here, some more similar beads. Just really amazing. Now I brought this out because just to show how many uses you can have with glass. Now I've never really seen a ceramic piece mixed with glass like this, but it's possible. And they use some dichroic glass pieces there. Look how the colors shift based on the angle. And then this is a different kind of glass there. But this is very typical of like the 80s, 90s type modern jewelry that they would make. Now I want to show some more foil glass just so you can see the difference there. So these are a matte finish. They are very beautiful, and then they have a gold foil. As you can see, there's not different colors being reflected back, and you can actually see the foil on the end there. So there's that. And then sometimes you'll see little flecks, and that could be foil or it could be mica. They do use mica. Mica has many uses as a mineral, and it has a metallic finish and is often used in glass beads as well. And then also goldstone or aventurine is used, which is also, you know, very metallic looking, and it has copper bits in it. This one might actually have some mica in it as well. I also wanted to show this bead. I was given this bead with a bunch of other little craft beads from my friend Curry. She has a YouTube channel, Cherished Relics Boutique. And I had asked her if she had any craft things, so she sent me some stuff. And she sent me this large square bead, and I've had this a while, and I thought that maybe this was like maybe someone's first time making a lampwork bead, because the flower and details are kind of globbed on there. So I had put it aside for a while, and then when I was gathering these beads to look at, I noticed, I guess I was in different lighting, that the center of this bead, no, actually I saw this. I thought, oh, that looks like dichroic, but maybe it's just paint or something, so I scratched it with my nail. And sure enough, nothing came off. Excuse me. So that was my first, you know, sign that, oh, maybe there is some dichroic. And when you really look at this, you got to have the light right. You can see in the center there, let's see if I can get this, you can see the dichroic glass in the middle there. We could look at it this way and see it's in the very center, then they put this clear glass around it and then added this red on the outside. But check that out. Okay, here we go. Here's that reflective colors. We're seeing orange, pink, red, a little bit of purple, orange, blue. So it's kind of a hidden surprise in this bead. I was amazed. All these ugly globs were covering it up. So yeah, so maybe you have some interesting beads you need to take a second look at. Now, underneath this, I have this really interesting book called 1,000 Glass Beads, Innovation and Imagination in Contemporary Glass Bead Making. This has all contemporary lampworking glass artists. Most of them are in the US. There were a few in Japan and in the UK. And it just amazes me at all the different things you can do with glass. But I want to show you some more dichroic glass beads, and they're going to blow you away. So I'll show you this. This one's by Linda McMillan. K. Dickey. And I love that this will also kind of tell you the technique. So this was flame worked. I thought flame worked and lamp worked were the same, so I'm not sure what that means. Stringer means it's a very thin piece of glass, like a string, and they give it all these little tiny details. And then they use dichroic and then soda lime glass. Same here. Now, this artist I just discovered and his name is Bruce St. John Mayer. Maybe it's Mayer. Now, he did not use heat at all. No flames, no furnace to make his artwork. He actually, it says cold worked. So what he did was he took pieces of glass and adhered them together and probably used some kind of saw or sander to give them a shape. Kind of like a lapidary artist would use different saws and sanders to shape and cut stones. That's how he did it here, and somehow glued them together. Oh, he did heat laminate them, but it was cold worked. So like, you know, the cutting part of it. Very, very interesting. This one is so amazing. It is like this galaxy in this bead. Oh, and it also tells you how big this is. I don't know, it's centimeters. I'm used to inches, so I can't think of how big this is off the top of my head. I did not know you could do this, but you can actually electroform glass. So that's what you see here. This rustic look here is actually copper that's been electroformed. You can see the little dichroic colors here, and there's about the artist and how this was made. Very interesting. And here is another person who cold worked their beads, and they even mention it here that they treat the glass slab as a semi-precious stone and use standard lapidary techniques to inlay the glass into the form of a bead. And did they use, yeah, they use dichroic. There's another dichroic pendant. I see pendants a lot more than anything else. It's been very popular to fuse pendants. And here is an example. These were kiln fused, layered, cut, shaped, cold worked, dichroic, and fusible glass. They said, after the first firing, when I see what the colors will really be like, I get a feel for them of a set, backwards maybe, but that's how it happens. These are beautiful. I think I got one more example to show you. Oh, I just love these autumn colors, jewel tones. It almost has a quilted look to them. So yeah, I just thought I wanted to show you more examples in case you're interested. And also this book is really interesting. Now I've got a couple more beads I have not shown. Sorry, the lighting darkened on me. These I'm really excited about. I'm very sorry if you hear my husband cutting the grass. Hopefully it's not too loud. Oh, not these. I showed something like that. These are dichroic, and they're very, very rustic looking. They have this matte finish to them, and they remind me very much of a glass artist I've been following. Her name is Barbara. I'm not sure her last name, but she goes by Basha Beads, and she's only on Etsy. She only sells on Etsy. And whenever she lists beads, they are gone within a day. She's highly collectible. You'll even find people selling their jewelry designs with Basha beads, and they'll advertise it that way. And what she does is she tries to imitate ancient Roman glass. and gives it this, you know, matte frosted finish and all these different, you know, reflected arrays of color. I'm not sure that these are hers. I can't really attribute her to these, although they look very much like hers, especially this one. I've got a couple more interesting ones here. They look like they were just unearthed and they were in the ground for 1,000 years. They look like ancient artifacts, and I love them. So interesting. So I'll leave a link to her Etsy shop as well, in case you guys want to check her out. So I hope you guys really found this interesting. I love sharing my finds. I love sharing my research. So let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video. Maybe share what your favorite fact was, or maybe your favorite piece that I've showed today. I really appreciate you being here, and if you have not, consider subscribing so you'll get notified every time that I upload a video. I try to upload every week to 2 weeks. I've kind of slacked recently, but I'm hoping to get back to a regular schedule. Really appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time.